Hi, my name's Katie and welcome to my channel. So you might notice that the fish tank behind me is looking a little bit patchy at the moment in terms of the rocks, because just yesterday I went to my local fish store, Aquariums, and I bought some more of the Texas holey rock to put into my 6-foot Lake Malawi tank. Now, my reason for getting the extra holey rock is kind of threefold. So I got it for helping with my pH and carbonate hardness in the tank. I also got it to grow some more of the green algae on too, because the algae is going to help me with my nitrates in my tank and to keep them down, so it's more surface area where I'm happy for the algae to grow, which is not the glass. So that's going to be good. And then lastly, it's for my mbuna as well. So I've got quite a few mbuna in there now. I've added probably about 5, I would say, since I actually began with my original stock for mbuna. So I felt like they needed a little bit more space to be able to hide too. And so that's what the Texas holey rock is also really good for. It looks nice, it helps with your parameters to make them more alkaline and make the water harder as well, but it's also a really great place for if you've got rock dwelling fish like mbuna for them to be able to hide in. But I thought that I would make a video out of it because it might be interesting to see the process of going out and buying some holey rock and how I chose the rock that I'm putting in my tank, and just talking about some tips and tricks and stuff for actually scaping the tank with it. Also, I'm just going to add into this video too my new fish that I had in quarantine, adding some of them to the main tank too, just to kind of update you on what's going on with that. And then also show you the new fish that I also bought yesterday, which I didn't expect to buy. So in general, I just thought it would be a nice kind of relaxing type of vlog video, which also might be informative in some ways as well. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please give it a like, comment down below, let me know what you think about it. And if you're enjoying this content, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel as well. All right, let's get into the video. This is the main display tank, and I don't have too many mbuna. I think I've only got about 7 or 8 at the moment, but I did get an extra 2 about a month ago, and I'm just finding that it would probably be nice for them to have some extra places to hide in, because there is plenty of space, like swimming space in this tank anyway, so I don't think there'll be any harm in putting some extra holey rock in. And then I'll show you as well my little quarantine tank that I've got going at the moment. So these guys have been in here for about a week now, or exactly a week it would be, and they're doing really well. So really healthy fish, I'm really happy with them. I'm really keen to add this bigger one in to the main tank as soon as possible, as well as this one here and this blue one. And then I'm going to let the peacock cichlids and then this smaller mbuna, possibly going to move that one in or maybe keep it in here, not too sure, but I'm going to let the smaller ones have some time to grow out in here. All right, well, what I'm going to do now is get everything ready and we can head out to the store. So beautiful. As always, they've got amazing displays in here and always changing them up. So gorgeous. And they've got one of these fishbowl designs too. I saw a reef, one of these with like all corals and a clownfish in it the other day on Instagram. It looks so nice. Yeah, I love coming in here and seeing all the things that they've got. Alright, so this is the selection of holey rock that they've got here. They've got a bunch of different types of rocks here, but I'm going to go for holey rock because that's what I've already got in my tank, and this is really good for raising the pH, KH and GH of your water for African Cichlids. If you're not sure what those things are, I've got a video that I did recently about them as well that I'll link in this video for you to check out. So these rocks are very heavy, so I'm going to need help probably taking them to the car, or I'll have to take them one at a time, but I'm actually not going to get any that are too big, so ones like this would be way too heavy for me to be able to carry on my own, whereas if I'm getting some of the smaller ones then it won't be as bad. And because I've already got my big main ones, I just want some smaller ones anyway that I can then put together and combine to make like rocks that look like bigger rocks with caves and stuff like that, and at least they're easier to move then when they're a bit smaller. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go through these and pick out some that I like the look of, ones that look kind of unique and have got good caves and stuff or hollows inside of them, and then I'll see what I've got. So just with choosing these rocks, I'll show you some of the things that I look for in them. So I've got a few that I like the look of that are on the smaller side. So with these rocks, they're very heavy, so you're going to expect to be laying them pretty flat in your aquarium. When I first got them, I tried to make it so I could have them jutting up really high, but it's just not worth it because they're so heavy and the cichlids will tend to dig and they will make them fall over normally. So you want something that you can make sure that it's sitting flat. So see something like this, it's probably going to sit like that, but it's going to be really good because they're going to love getting under there and building a little cave under there. But if you were to try and sit this up, you could try it, but it would probably end up falling down because they would dig underneath it. So you just want something that's going to be able to sit flat, and if it's got little things hanging off it like that, then they're going to love getting under there. And an added bonus too, if you've got small mbuna, normally these will have holes that create caves in the rock that they'll like going into to be able to hide as well. And I just wanted to show you this one because I thought it was really cool too. So these are limestone, but you can see that this one's actually got some type of mineral that's built up on it, which I thought looked really cool. It almost looks like a crystal. Some of them have little bits of that in them, which are really cool. So yeah, you just want something that can sit flat but still look nice, that's got plenty of places for them to be able to get underneath and dig and hide in. And I find that if you just get a few really big ones like that, then you get the smaller ones like this medium size, and then even tinier ones, and then bits of crushed coral, you can get a really nice natural look. Because I mean, in the wild you'll normally see that where there's bigger rocks and then smaller ones and then crushed up bits that create the sand. So yeah, that's how I choose them. This one's beautiful, really nice. Alright, so these are the ones I'm going to go with because I think they've all got really nice kind of interesting shapes to them, whereas these ones I'm not going to get because they're more just kind of like blobs, whereas I like these ones how they've got this smoothness and, you know, bits sticking out and stuff like that. And in typical fashion, I sliced my finger open, putting the rocks back, sliced it on this thing here. I'm very good at cutting my fingers open on these rocks and anything to do with them. While I'm here, I just thought I'd quickly show you some of the fish that I recently got that I've got in quarantine at the moment, just so you can see them in their tanks here. So I got this guy here, which is the JLo reef. That's the one that's looking really nice and blue now. I have been feeding it the absolute colour food, which I think helps it to colour up quite a bit. And when I bought mine, I got the most colourful one that was in the tank. And then I got one of these little guys. So just a cobalt blue mbuna. And then one of these little rusty cichlids as well, which is another mbuna. Then these guys, so that's the really big one that I've got that I'm keen to add in. So a Lofi cichlid, hope I'm saying that right. And then one of these guys too, so elongatus mpanga, however you say that. I really love this one. I think that one's probably my favourite one that I got. And then little travases are still here, which I added in quite a while ago into my tank. And I think that's the main ones, and then the other ones that I got were just some peacock cichlids. So I got one of these white knight haps and then a couple of these marble peacocks, and I think that there was also a blue peacock. I think it was an iceberg blue one that I got too. I'm not sure if they're still in here. Oh wow, there's some really big guys in here at the moment. They're really cool. But yeah, as always, I've got a huge selection in here. I've just seen these guys in here, these Williamsy blue lit ones, and they are so beautiful. I just did a Google of them too, so they're a Lake Malawi cichlid, and they look really nice when they get bigger and more colourful. So I think I'm going to grab one of these ones as well, just because I really, really like them. Alright, well, how good is this? They've actually got trolleys in store now. I don't know if they always had them and I just didn't see them, or I bought too much to fit in a trolley, but this is great. So now I can just wheel it out to my car. Perfect. Just a word of warning with this rock as well. As I was putting it in, this chipped off one of the rocks. Well, I held it by this and then the rock broke off and then landed on here and actually chipped some of my paint on my car. So just be careful because it is limestone, so it does kind of break apart pretty easily, and that would really suck as well if you were putting it into your tank and that happened and it landed on your glass. So I'm actually kind of thankful that it happened to my car, because I mean, it's just paint, but I really wouldn't want it to be chipping the glass on my tank or anything like that. So even, you know, if you didn't have much sand or something and you dropped that from a large distance, that could crack your tank. So just be really, really careful with this stuff. I just got home, but I've got a little bit of a difficult situation here because I did just buy that fish and I need to get that fish in water so that it can acclimate to the temperature and everything, and the water's not going to cool down too much in the bag. But I can't float the bag in my main tank because that would defeat the purpose of quarantine. But if I float it in my other tank, then that's also going to mean that any fish that's in there needs to redo the quarantine period, which is completely fine because the little peacocks in there, I was going to keep them in there for longer anyway to let them grow out. But the bigger fish that I would like to move into my main tank need to get out of that tank before I put this fish to float in there, just in case that fish is going to introduce anything. So I need to get moving. So I'm going to go get some fish from there, put them into the big tank. And I did want to add the holey rock before I added those fish in because I don't want to stress them out by fiddling around with rock and stuff like that. But I think I can probably just do both things at the same time, and I think it will be fine. It should be okay. All right, so I just brought it in. We've got our lovely little selection of holey rock here that I've just bought, all ready to go into the tank. Now, it's gonna look a little bit weird for a while because it will take a couple of months to get this nice green algae look that these rocks in there have. So they're gonna stand out. They'll be very bright white for a while and look a bit strange, but that's okay. It's a work in progress. By the way, I changed my mind. I decided that I am just gonna put the rocks in now just very quickly, and then I can play around with them later on if I need to. I thought it's probably good to put them in now because then that way these fish are gonna have something else that's distracting them from the new fish that I put in there. And I just really don't wanna do that after I add the new fish in because I just don't think it's gonna be a great idea. It'll probably stress them out a bit if I'm getting my hands in there and everything. So I'd rather have the extra caves and everything in there ready to go for the new mbuna and stuff that I'm adding in. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'll set the camera up so you can see the process of putting them in. For putting these in, you want to make sure that either you've got something like egg carton for these to sit on, so not egg carton, sorry, like the crates from egg carton. Some people use that to sit heavy rocks on, or you can do what I've done and have a pretty thick sand layer, and then that helps to diffuse the weight of the rock so that there's not pressure points on the glass. That's the main thing you want to avoid, is if you've got really huge ones, especially like this one, that you don't have a pointy bit where most of the weight of the rock is going and that's touching the glass directly. So that's what having sand helps with. Or I haven't used it before, but some channels like MD Tanks will show how you can use the crates to sit rocks on as well, if you don't want to have a thick sand bed. So I'm just going to kind of pop it in and see how it goes. And also, before you put your hands in your tank, make sure that they're clean, that you don't have sanitizer or anything on them. That's really important. This one, I think I liked it more facing this way. I don't stack the rocks at all, except if it's really sturdy. It's going to be kind of hard to like scape this, and I use scape very loosely because I'm definitely not doing anything super artistic with this, but just to kind of make it look natural-ish, do my best to do that. But it is hard to know, I think, what's going to look good and what's not. And I find that if I spend too long planning it, then I just end up not really liking it anyway. So I kind of just put them in, go with the flow, see how it looks. And I'm also got to make sure that I'm pretty fast because I've got that fish waiting. So just see how it goes. So, show you what I've got. I am reasonably happy with that for now, as just kind of like quickly popping the rocks in. What I will do is I'll put the new fish in, I'll leave it for a little bit, and I'll have a think about it and where I want to put some of the new rocks to make it look a little bit nicer. But I think that they will look a little bit weird for a while until they get the green algae on them too. I think maybe balancing it out, so there's a smaller rock on there too, to kind of bulk this up a little bit, and then maybe moving that a little bit more over there so there's still free swimming space through the middle. And I know that I said try not to stack them, but you can stack them as long as they're really sturdy. So sometimes it might not look like it, but if I push or put any pressure on that, this does not move at all. So just the way that the rocks are distributed is really nice and sturdy on there. And I just try and leave so there's room to go through the front and then through the back as well. And I'll show you what it looks like from on top. So if you have a look here, you can see just like a reef tank. There's lots of rock, but there's plenty of swimming space around the rock as well for the fish to get around. All right, so now that's all done, what I'm gonna do is get our new fish and pop them in. All right, we're all ready to go in. And one thing that you can do is feed the other fish that are in here. So I'm just gonna do that very quickly just to distract them a little bit, just to take some attention away from the new fish. You guys are free. You're going the wrong way. They were so happy in their quarantine tank, but I think that they're going to be happy in this new tank as well. What do you think? There you go. All right, done. So let's see if we can see him. There's our new one that I just added in. And our J-Lo reef here as well, looking pretty. They seem to be settling in reasonably well. My red top hongy has noticed this other embuna in there. And there's our rusty cichlid. Putting on a bit of a show for them. And so I'm really glad that I've added this extra rock in, because it just gives so much more space for the embuna to go. So you can see they're already enjoying swimming around in between the rocks and everything. And it just gives them a place to hide and a place to relax and everything, especially for the smaller ones too, because then they're able to actually fit in some of the smaller holes and rocks and stuff that some of the bigger fish can't actually fit in. And then this guy here is who's a hap. That's the J-Lo reef, looking pretty happy as well, fitting in reasonably well with all of the other haps and peacocks in here. And so you can see how they're open water swimmers. That one's not really hiding at all, it just swims around, whereas the new embuna, they like to go in between the rocks and everything like that. So really good, seems like a good introduction and everything. So because they're all kind of in there and finding their place, and I'm not too worried about any of them, they're all looking fine and everything. So there's our other one. What I'm going to do is turn our filters and wave maker on before I forget to turn those things back on. And I think that everyone looks like they're doing pretty well, so they should be happy. Okay, so it's now the next day and these guys seem really happy with having the extra rock. They want to be fed, so they're not really behaving naturally in the moment, but it was really good. I noticed that they were hiding in the rock, some of the embuna, and it actually looked kind of bare, the fish tank at first, because so many of the fish were in and around the rocks and stuff, which is good. I didn't see any glass surfing, which is good to me. I hate it when I see fish glass surfing. It just kind of stresses me out seeing it, because it makes them look like they're not happy with their environment. So I was really pleased to see that they seem to be taking well to the rocks, because at first I think that it was a little bit stressful, like having things change and stuff added in, but they all seem to be really enjoying it. Not 100% sure if this is the final way that I want it to be. I just want to let things rest and sit for a little while because I don't want to muck around too much, because I think that I need to give myself time as well to get used to the added rocks and everything and let them grow a little bit of algae and everything. And then I think I will recuperate and see if I'd like to change the scape. One thing that I had in mind was maybe moving this rock here to over there to make that one have more of a slower decline on the end. That's the only thing I was thinking. I don't know, let me know what you think. I'm not the best at scaping, but I've got some really nice rocks. Like, I really love this one. There's so much that can be done with that one. I was originally going to sit that one down flat, but I kind of like how it's able to then mean that there's a little bit of a gap in between the two kind of islands of rocks. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about it, and if anyone has any ideas and stuff to make the scape look better than what it is now. Bear in mind too that it is going to look a little bit weird for a while because of the white rocks, and they're kind of juxtaposed to the algae ones. So it'll look good once they get a little bit of algae, but scape good. The fish seem to be going well. So there's one of our new ones here, and you could see the little rusty cichlid just in here as well. So they all seem to be well, and there is our JLo reef. I may be wrong about that being a JLo reef. I think that I might have ended up finding out that it was something different. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. If anyone knows Lake Malawi cichlids, would you be able to let me know if you know what that fish here is? I think it's some type of hap. Look at that, so beautiful. Showing some really, really nice colors. Really nice. But yeah, in general, the fish seem very, very happy with having the extra rocks in here. It's just giving them some places, I think, to feel more secure and to hide, especially important now I've got the extra mbuna. So I thought I'd show you this new food that I got. It's the Dimax Cichlid premium food. So they just recently got it in at Mad Aquariums. The fish really like this. I gave it to them yesterday as well, and they love it. It smells so good. It's got garlic in it, and it smells like pasta. It's really nice. So I give them a little bit. Normally when I give them a new food, what I do is I don't give them an awful lot of it, because sometimes they're a bit picky, and even if it's a really nice food, they just don't want to eat it. But for this one, they actually seem to like it. And I was going to say that maybe it's because they got fed it in store, but I think it's only new in store anyway too. So I don't know, they just took to it really quickly, probably because it's got garlic in it. I think that fish tend to like food that's got garlic in it. They seem to be attracted to it for some reason, kind of like humans, I guess. Alright, so that's all for the video for today. I hope you found it enjoyable seeing the process of going out to Mad Aquariums and choosing the holey rock, and also showing you adding the new fish into the tank. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Let me know if you've got any ideas for the holey rock, or if you know what that fish is, the one that I thought was the JLo reef that I'm not sure if it is. So let me know, and if you're enjoying this content and you haven't subscribed already, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!